you're supporting your colleagues that are basically practicing doing an audition in front of somebody who runs an opera company. And I just, the word masterclass is silly. There's no master. There's just people who hear things, and I just want to help people bring out what they can out of their performances. So that's my goal. And I'm very happy to be here and grateful that you guys showed up. So let's hear the singers.
Hello, my name is Lurdes Zapata, and today I will be singing Chacun by Gaetano Donizetti.
Le régiment par excellence, le soldat qui l'offense credea, dans tous les camarades de France, le régiment dans tout pays, les froids des amants, et de la bonté, bien si près.
Was that right away I could see like a vibrancy in your personality, because I like to talk about how everybody has their own sort of inner spark, and the whole point of when you want to sing for people is to distinguish yourself somehow. And I think as students we're always worried about, like, obviously the technical part of what we're doing and making sure that everything is just right, and the thing that will get someone's attention when you're going to sing for an opera company is showing what you have that no one else does. It's like a fingerprint. Everyone does have something that no one else has, and so you've got to figure out what that thing is. And so for you, I think clearly your personality just comes right through, and it's clear that you're just like a very bright person. And so what I would love to see is more specificity about what you're communicating in this aria, because the thing is, you come out and you have this like very vibrant personality, and then I feel like it kind of goes into like a kind of more, it's just like the same thing all the way through, just like kind of like a happiness. So I think if we could try to get some like specific moments and changes throughout the piece, that show who you are coming through.
Okay.
So if you had to pick one, I mean, we know like this aria is just kind of like a happy, she's kind of introducing herself, but like if you had to pick one word to describe who you are as the character in this, what would it be? Not to put you on the spot. I mean, and there's no wrong answer.
As a character?
Yeah. Well, let's pick one, like who this character is. Like just one word. If you're communicating one thing, it can be like an adjective or like any kind of word that describes. Yeah, you got it.
Dedicated.
Dedicated. Okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say. I like it. So how can you communicate dedicated in an opera aria?
I think for her character in specific, I know that she's trying to convince the regiment that she's a part of, because she's like the water girl.
Right.
She's trying to convince them that, hey, you are in command, you are in control, there's no need to be afraid. Us together as a team, we can move forward. And I think she is kind of like the glue that sticks them together.
Yeah, so she's like a motivational speaker in this moment.
Yes.
Okay, well, so other than like being happy and smiley and stuff, what is a way that you could communicate being motivational and dedicated that would sort of be distinctive, do you think?
I think being intimate and personal.
Oh, that's good, yeah. Yeah, did you feel like you found that, like, did you feel like you had a moment to do that this last time, or was it more outward?
I think it was more out than,
yeah.
And I think there's certain spots in the aria that I could be more like, this is why. Like kind of like going up to each soldier and being like, you could do this.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea.
Okay.
So that's one thing, and then I basically think I'm gonna pick about 3 things to talk with each person about, just because we don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
So one thing is the specificity of like intimacy and like, you know, talking to individual people. That's great. Another thing for you, I would say, is like there were times when I felt like you were giving a lot outwardly, like you were sort of performing it outwardly, but I sort of wanted there to be more vocally. Like I felt like you were sort of being very careful sometimes with some of the sort of the, you know, and which it sounds great. So now I think I would love to have it be more bombastic and like joyful and like let go a little bit in those parts, so that everything is maybe not going to be perfect that time around, and every note isn't going to be exactly, but you have more ebullience when you're presenting it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because, you know, that's another way you could be motivational to them, is like really giving your all, you know. I think probably the theme through all of this will be like, be less perfect. Which is like, you know, you can go in your lessons with your teachers and they'll get everything perfect, but then when you come out to stage to perform, I think the thing that really makes people sit up is when you throw that away and don't think about it when you come out on stage. You spend all your time in the studio working on it and getting it, and then you come out on stage and then you let that go. And hopefully this is like a safer space so that you can try that and try to see if you can just like be a little bit freer in some of those coloratura sections.
Yes.
And a little bit fuller even.
Okay.
Because I felt like it was like little sometimes, and it could be more strong.
Okay.
And so that was maybe the third thing I would say, is like, because Marie is like, you know, part of the regiment and trying to be a soldier, that I wanted it to be more grounded a little bit, like a little bit more sort of like in your tomboy, you know, like in your like moving around, like, you know, I'm sure you've seen in like the shows and the costumes, like what she looks like, you know, like feel free to sort of move about and be more kind of in your body and in your legs, and, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So those are, I guess that's my 3 things I would say. Let's try it, and maybe if it's okay, I might stop you sometimes, like as we go along. Okay, all right, let's try those 3 things and see how we go. I'm just gonna jump down. It'll take too long. So. It's so beautiful, it's too beautiful.
Okay.
I want it to be more, it's like, you know, a trumpet. And so like, just like trying to find some different variations and sounds, and maybe not, you're doing like one very kind of covered awe, like just open up and just, bleh!
Okay.
See how it goes.
Okay.
one thought as you're singing. One thing, when you talked about being sort of motivational and determined, I think maybe the phrasing could help with that, because you're kind of doing like one phrase, Chacun, Chacun, and like, I think if you can think more of a sentence and how all of the words tie together, it'll feel more like you're talking to someone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we can start with the, after the thing, yeah.
Chacun le sait, chacun le dit, le régiment par excellence, les soldats qui l'enfance crédit, dans tous les camarades de France, le régiment en ton pays, les froids des enfants abandonnés, et de la beauté bien si près.
Okay, stop. Why does she do that little turn? What's that about?
I think she's trying to get their attention by doing something different.
Okay, and is she trying to, like, you know, get them interested and, like, flirt with them a little bit, or get them, like, there's got to be some reason why she's decided to not just sing that word the way that it is.
In my head, it's that they're not paying attention to her enough.
Oh, okay. So I didn't get that. I got, like, this is a perfect truth.
Okay.
So let's, like, what is the reason for that? And keep that thought going through that. That's the thing about these bel canto things, right? There's so much awe. Like, they're always singing awe. There's all these long phrases of and like, what are they talking about? What are they doing? And you have to infuse all of those with some kind of meaning, especially when they come at the end of a phrase like that. Because, you know, why would she bother? There's got to be a really specific reason why she's adding that little thing. And I want to know what that is immediately.
Okay.
So do you want to go back like a couple bars so you can try that again?
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Mais de la beauté bien si près, mais il est là, il est là, il est là, parlons, le voilà, le voilà, le voilà, il est là, il est là, le voilà, les pauvres de Nyama, les pauvres de Nyama.
Okay, that's a great part that I would love to hear the phrasing of it. Il est là, il est là, il est là, morbleu. Because right now it seems like it's broken up.
Chunky.
And you have to sort of plan it when you breathe it, right? You think the whole phrase when you take the breath. So you're having this long phrase, but that it has these little short, like, bursts in it. There has to be a reason why it's going all the way through. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I would love to hear that little thing at the end one more time. It's just I want to get what you're doing with that. I want to hear some little thing, some expression or some breath or something that really makes me understand what that little trill is at the end.
Okay.
Mais de la beauté bien si près, mais il est là, il est là, il est là, parlons, le voilà, le voilà, le voilà, il est là, il est là, le voilà, les pauvres de Nyama, les pauvres de Nyama.
Think about the phrasing next. Keep going.
Il a gagné tout des combats qu'on montre dans les bosses vers chacun de ses soldats à la paix marchande de France.
Could we try just one thing for fun?
Yeah.
Could you try singing these couple of phrases completely legato? Just try just like all the way through it, and not like so that I know there's rest, but just try it once so that we can hear what it sounds like as a phrase.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be lively and bright, but it has to have some shape to it. So I think if you just try singing it legato one time so you feel the shape of the whole phrase, it'll help when you take them out so that they don't come out as little just popcorns.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Oh gosh, boy, that was fast. Okay.
What was it?
Il a gagné.
Thank you.
Il a gagné tout des combats.
Just a little bit more legato, more legato. Really like you're painting, really legato this time, and then we'll take it out.
Il a gagné tout des combats qu'on montre
Okay, so since we only have 1 minute left, so the main thing I'm trying to get across is that they can all sound similar if you don't think about them in a long phrase. They just sound, and so what you want to do is think about where the phrase is going and have each one of those little lines in between have a direction that it's going, so that they don't all sound the same, so that they sound like they have somewhere that they're going. So now that you tried legato, can you keep that in mind and do them as written? And then probably will be time. Think about where it's going. If I had one last thing to say, could you sing that out more, that last phrase? Just put it out in the world instead of trying to be so delicate with it?
Yeah.
Can you just try it? Just that last high note.
Sure. Le plus franca.
Nice. I think I... I was going to have her finish her last page, but good job, good job.
Hello, my name is Bashmakian, and I'll be singing Manon, credea, mirarti from the opera La Sonnambula by Bellini.
was very beautiful. Very beautiful playing also. I didn't acknowledge you last time, but the world to have a sensitive pianist, so you guys are lucky. You have a beautiful voice. You're very natural on stage. You have like a very natural presentation, which is nice. The thing about these arias, these bel canto arias that are like generically sad, is like it's like so many times like the soprano is just sad. And like, so I think we have to find something in there that is more specific than just sad, and that is more personal to you. So I will ask you the same question, one word to describe your state of mind or what you're trying to communicate as this character in this moment. What is it?
I think she feels like really hopeless.
Hopeless, okay. So how can we find some specificity to hopelessness? I mean, it's a big feeling. So how can we find some more moments in that are, that it's clear that that's what she's feeling and that it has a more direct impact? Who is she talking to?
She's sleepwalking, so it's just her subconscious thoughts that she's getting out. But I think along with like the hope.
Who does she think she's talking to though in her sleep?
To him.
To her.
Elvina.
Yeah. Okay. So in her mind, she's talking to him right now. Okay. So that's one thing, is like actually having a person, even though this is a weird situation where she's sleepwalking, she thinks she's talking to someone. So you have to be in that state of specifically talking to someone and make sure that that's clear. Which is also like, oh my God, this is a hard opera. It's hard to like, how do you do sleepwalking and like have it not be weird? But like, I think it has to be real. It has to be like, she is really experiencing this in this moment, and it has to be as real as it can be. So how can we find some like different moments in this? Like, what is a moment where you could like pull something out that would be more visceral than just hopelessness?
I think like acceptance can also be like a word to describe it, because she's accepting that this is what her life is now. She's not engaged. So I think when she's talking about like, you withered away like a flower, like it's gone, like accepting what she had is not anymore.
Okay, good. So that's one sort of different direction to go. I think you need to find like at least 2 or 3 different things that are even more specific than hopelessness, that are like, anguish about X, or, something really like draw from whatever you need to yourself, but that it's clear. That's one thing I wanted to say, is just like the specificity of like the communication. 2 is, you're coming off your voice a lot. Like you're sort of like, there's moments where you like, it comes out and it's like really clear. And I want that to be throughout the whole thing. It's like a lot of it is, it feels like sort of on the like lighter side than what can come out of you. Sometimes I find that kind of staying on the voice can come from that specificity of intention. Like if you're thinking ahead, I always say like breathe for the whole phrase. And you have to think like at what the end of the phrase is at the first breath, and then kind of keep that spinning all the way through. And I think like for you, like there was a few moments where like you really like spun through the tone and your voice kind of like broke through the clouds. I would love to hear that the whole time. Does that like make sense to you? Okay, good. Because if you were like, what? It would be harder for me to explain to you. But like if you know what I mean, then like towards like 2/3 through, like there was this moment where your voice just kind of broke through. And I don't know what happened for you in that moment, but it was like somehow you got connected to your body and like your voice really opened up. So whatever you can do to sort of bring that from moment 1, I think would be good. So those are 2 things. I've only got 2, specificity and connection to the body. So let's start over and try that, and I'll probably stop you. Okay? Okay, stop, sorry. So I don't think that you breathed for the phrase. It sounded like you were starting to sing like almost at the end of the phrase. Like I didn't feel like a preparation and like a spinning of the tone on the breath from the first moment. It was like all of a sudden there. One more time. sorry, would you humor me and just take a big breath through your nose? Like close your mouth and breathe through your nose so that I can know that you're getting adequate air and then spin the tone out, because I really think there's more there. One more time, sorry. Okay, so this is one of those parts I want to get you more connected to your body because you're coming off your voice a little bit. So like, shake it out, shake out your body, just kind of like relax. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Okay. Stop being nervous. Gone. All gone. No need to be nervous. I'm the least nerve-making person. Like, I just want you to be relaxed. Like, I just want you to feel in your body your sort of like connection to the earth and your deep breaths, and breathe down to your toes and feel the whole phrase. And a little bit more, like, sometimes I ask people to do something that is like opposite of what the emotion is, just to get, because we get stuck in this like sad, like, and then we get out of our body. So do me a favor, if we can go back, I guess, the first phrase was good, so maybe somehow going to the second phrase, I want you to try acting like you're incredibly joyful. Okay? Like this is the best thing ever. Okay? Just try it so we can see if we can get out of the sad collapse. That's the specificity right now, is joy. Let's see how it goes. I'm not sure where to have her start.
Should we start on C presto?
Sure.
Si presto estinto a fiore.
Okay, that's crazy. That was like a different voice. Like, I don't know if it was just like that the sadness was making you, but like your voice came out just now. So somehow you have to infuse, I don't know if it's that the sad sort of emotion is kind of making you go down in your palate or something, but like, let's keep going with happy Sonnambula and see how that goes for like a few more phrases. Oh no! This is so short. Okay, let's try this page and try it as joyous as you can, and let's see how that goes with opening up and then we'll go back. Same spot. Good breaths.
Si presto estinto a fiore, passasti al par d'amore,
Happier.
che un giorno solo, che un giorno sol durò, che un giorno solo a sol durò.
Keep going. Big happy breaths. See how that goes.
Passasti al par d'amore.
You guys hear that? It's like your voice opened up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was like a different voice. I don't know if you just like relaxed a little bit, or maybe if it was just like the sad acting was kind of making you collapse in the body. But like now I hear your voice, it's so beautiful. So I think you need to consider that when you're practicing this, is like maybe for a while take out that emotional part of it and just sing it because it makes you feel good and enjoy that. And then once you kind of are free in that and you hear that your voice is free, you can add some of that sadness, but maybe, how there's two sides to every coin, maybe keep that, she's sad because she was so happy at this moment when she was with him. Like find some way to find that. I mean, I think it's partially like preparing for the breath and everything, but like somehow that was just like, almost night and day. So I would keep doing that. Do you want to just like do the end? Want to just sing the end? I hate to have people not end at the end. Do you want to just sing the last few phrases, the cadenza at the end, and try it with this joy and freedom? Where can we have her start? Good breath, prepare.
Cornwell, and I'll be singing Schaunard's Entrance from La Bohème by Puccini.
La polca di Francia per voi si sbilancia. Se solo sei libero, quest'uomo chi è? San Luigi Filippo ai nostri piedi. Ora vi dirò che sono un medio argento alla sua brava storia. Un inglese, un signor, loro miglior che sia, vuole musicista, io volo, e mi presento, ma Gaetano domando, a quando le lezioni, mi presento, ma Gaetano domando, a quando le lezioni, risponde incominciamo. Guardare è un pappagallo, ma dietro al primo piano, poi soggiunge, poi suonare finché quello non mi vede. E fu così suonai 3 lunghi dì, allora sai l'incanto di mia presenza bella, affascinai l'ancella. I propinai pretemono, lo rido allargo l'ali, lo rito allargo l'ali, lo rito il becco aprì. Un poco di prezzemolo da sopra ne morì. Che il diavolo vi porti tutti quanti. E non che fate? No! Queste cibarie sono la salmeria e di futuri tenebrosi e oscuri. Pranzare in casa irdi della vigilia, mentre il quartier latino le sue vie addobba di salsicce le cornie. Quando un lezzo di frisare imbalsama le vecchie strade, le ragazze cantano contente ed anche ognuno studente. Un mal di religione, o miei signori, si beve in casa, ma si pranzi fuor.
That was very nice. It was very beautifully sung. You have a beautiful voice. You have a very bright personality. So the only thing I'm going to say to you is like you have to loosen way up.
Yeah.
Like Schaunard is like the goofball, you know? He's like the comic relief. He's the person that comes in and everybody's like, woo, party, you know? So like I think like even when you came out, I could tell like you're very like everything, the technique is on, everything is on. I mean, I don't know what your personality is like, but I'm guessing maybe you're like type A. So like this is great. This is a great thing for you because this is like the perfect thing to like jump out of that and be crazy. Because like you know, I was like, oh, we're gonna hear Schaunard. Like that's not even. First of all, it's hard to do a scene when like there's other people in it and you're by yourself. That already you have to like bring some kind of something, you know. And then on top of that, like just bringing like his like goofiness and funniness and like I think that'll just like make this jump out. Because already, like, are you his teacher?
Yes.
Like, technique is like, he can forget about that for a minute, right?
Yes.
Because, like, that's all there. Like, it's beautiful. It's the most beautiful Schaunard there ever was. That's, like, done. Okay, done, dusted. There you go. Now just, like, live it and be it and just relax and, like, be this crazy goofball. Yeah. And that's going to be, like, that's going to make you jump out. And it's going to make your voice come out even more in the places that it needs to. Okay. What do you think? What is the one word to describe Schaunard right now in this moment?
I would think excitement.
Excitement. Okay, that's very general. Something more specific. What is he trying to accomplish right now?
He's trying to tell his friends this crazy story of how he got all this money and all this food that he's just brought them.
Why is he wanting to do that? What would be why does he want to tell them that story?
He's trying to impress them.
Trying to impress them, trying to maybe entertain them, trying to bring some like levity to this very like dark hovel that they all live in. Right. Like his job right now, right, is to like bring life into this moment. Yeah. So I think that's the specificity for you, is not sort of just general happiness, but like where are those moments? Like when you're telling a story and you're trying to really like get someone into it, you know, like there's got to be ups and downs. There's got to be like sad moments, dramatic moments, like high moments, you know? Like I want to see all of that coming out in an authentic way, in like a, you know, like a natural way. Okay. You want to try it? Sure. Okay. Move around. Go jump off the stage. Go run into the audience. Whatever you want to do.
Four measures?
La parte di Francia per voi si sbilancia. Se sola, sei lì, ma possiamo chi è?
Okay, wait. I want to find, where's that chair that you had for me? Is it backstage?
It is backstage.
Okay, either I'm going to sit in it or I'm going to have you sit in it. I'm either going to have you tell it to me because, where did it go? All right, hi everyone. All right. I move my own chairs, I do everything. Okay, I want you to tell it to me. I'm one of the guys. So talk to me. First we're going to try you talking to me and then I'm going to make you sit in it. Okay. Okay. Ready? Sorry. No, from you with the piano.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to like you're talking to someone first.
Yeah.
Okay. You're telling me the story.
La parte di Francia per voi si sbilancia. Sei sola, sei lì, ma quest'uomo chi è? Sa Luigi Filippo ai nostri piedi. Ora mi dirò, quest'oro o meglio argento. Alla sua brava.
I'm going to act like I'm not listening. You have to get my attention.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Ora mi dirò, quest'oro o meglio argento. Alla sua brava Isonia. Un inglese in signor. Non milor che sia. O lei musicista. Io volo. Le proprie dai piacevolo.
I'm sorry, Machito, thank you.
It's so hard to do a scene when there's other people that are supposed to be singing. I get it. But my point of this is like, if I'm sitting like this and you want to get my attention, run over here. Yeah. Like, do something, just like, throw yourself into it. Like, embarrass yourself. They're not here.
Got it.
You guys aren't here, right? You're not here. We find a spot. Where could he go from?
Sure. How about from, Lord, mi Lord Cassia.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do this again. You gotta get my attention.
I'll pick you up. You go sort.
Lord, mi Lord che sia, vuole il musicista. Io foto. I'm sorry.
Maceta gli domando.
Maceta gli domando a quando le lezioni mi presento. Maceta gli domando a quando le lezioni risponde incominciamo.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Guardare è un papacalo, ma dito al primo pan. Poi soggiunge, vuoi suonare finché quello non mi ven. E fu così suonai 3 lunghi dì. Allora sei l'incanto, in mia presenza bella, lo fascinai l'ancella. Vi propinai prezzemolo, lo rito allargo l'ali, lo rito il becco aprì. Un poco di prezzemolo da sopra me morì. Che il diavolo vi parti tutti quanti. E noi che fate? No! Queste cibarie sono la salmeria.
Now do something that's not what you're singing about.
What?
Do something that's not what you're singing about. Something else. Just do something wild that's not what you're singing about.
Ei di futuri, tenebrosi e studi. Pranzare in casa il dì della vigilia, mentre il quartier latino le sue vie addobba di salsicce le cornie.
Now get down on the ground with me.
Quanto un lenzo ti fridere, imbalsama le vecchie strade, alle ragazze cantano contente, e campere con una nostra dente. In casa, ma si pronti war.
Oh, yeah, time. No time. Am I at time? 1 minute. Well, how did you feel kind of running around and being crazy like that?
A little silly.
Yeah.
But I get that's the goal.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's not even being silly. It's more just like letting the audience come in with you. Like, the more sort of buttoned up you are in anything you sing, it doesn't even have to be something like this. I mean, this is a perfect thing for you because, you know, it helps you get into that part. But even if you're doing something that's serious and something that's like so, it's like you have to let the audience in, and sometimes that means like being vulnerable. Yeah. And being silly is being vulnerable, being sad is being vulnerable, but just doing things to let that into you is exactly what is great for you right now. This is a perfect aria for you, so good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Viviana Ramirez, and today I will be performing Je suis encore, tout, étourdie by Jules Massenet from the opera Manon. Je
All right, we got to figure out a way to make the whole rest of the aria, besides that amazing middle part, be like that part.
Right.
So like we have to find a reason for you to sing the rest of it.
Right.
Because what it felt like to me, like just watching, was like you were like, okay, I want to do this aria because of this one part. I'm going to nail it. You guys are going to be impressed. And then the rest of it was kind of like, and this is all the French words, that I know how to say.
Right.
So we got to find some like reason for that, because once we get to that exciting part, well, let me ask you first. Did you pick this or was this assigned to you?
I think it was assigned to me. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so do you like singing it or not?
I do.
You do, and what do you like about it? That middle part with the high notes?
No, actually,
Okay,
I
tell me.
like the French in it because she's just so curious and excited about the world
Yeah.
that it's just overwhelming. So
You like that part of her character. You
Yes,
like
I really
exploring
love
that
that. Yes.
sort. So exploring her curiosity is interesting to you.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So that's really great. So I can't say I got that
Yeah.
first time, but no, it's hard. It's actually very hard. It's like a very wordy aria where there's a lot. She's just like communicating. So I think maybe first of all, like in the phrasing, I think we have to find some more longer lines and some more pockets to make some things happen in there that are interesting. It just needs to sort of like it felt kind of like you were kind of, I got that you knew what you were saying, first of all, that's good. Like, it was clear that you knew what you were saying, but I didn't really know what I was supposed to feel like.
Right.
And I think that that's part of the thing, right? When you're singing an aria, not only do you know what you are wanting the character, but you kind of need to think about how do you want the audience to feel, and what do you want them to get from it. And by the time we get to that wonderful middle part with all those, you know, roulades, like, that's an exciting moment. So how do we bring the audience there along the way? And so I would say, like, for you, because you clearly know what you're saying. And the funny thing about this is I'm always talking about specificity. Like, this is, like, so wordy. It already is very specific, but it's not very, like, it's hard to excerpt and make it into something that, like, draws the audience in. So maybe if you want to be, like, talking to someone or making some eye contact, something that allows you to kind of bring out your personality into what you're saying and what you just said to me about what you like about it. Like, that's a great thing. That's a great takeaway from this aria. You know, sometimes with, like, these characters like Manon, it's like you got to find, like, their inner feminist. So it's not so foreign to what we are women in today. Like, you know, I think I would like to find that, like, strength in her character as opposed to just the, like, chirpy part, you know? Like, sopranos, like, default chirpy sometimes because the music, right?
Yes.
But, like, find, like, you of today in what she's saying at the beginning and find that curiosity.
Okay.
Well, I'll stop you and we'll stop and go.
Okay.
Je suis encore tout étourdie. Je suis encore tout engourdie.
Already much better. Keep going, sorry.
Cousin, excusez-moi, excusez-moi, demandez-moi. Je suis encore tout étourdie. Pardonnez à mon bavardage, j'en suis à mon premier voyage.
Okay, why does she just suddenly start talking so fast? What is the reason for that sudden change?
Because she's talking a lot, so she's telling him, excuse my chattering, but I'm just so excited about, because it's my first visit out into the world. I'm just
So she's
excited.
she's like nervous and excited and
think it's very
embarrassed
excitement,
and
yes.
okay. Let's hear that. No, it's actually, you never know when you're doing a master class whether the second time is just better because someone's relaxed. Because obviously the first time is harder, but, like, that to me was much clearer in your curiosity. Like, that made more sense to me what you were doing.
Okay.
And I would say, you know, unless it's a choice, like, I feel like people always choose to do Manon, like, really cute. Like, I'm so cute. Are you doing that on purpose, or is that just your personality?
Well, for this first aria, I think because she's 15 and she's never been out and she's actually on her way to the convent, I think that's why she's just so, like,
Right. No, totally. Like, excited, nervous, but, like,
Yeah.
are you meaning to be, like, adorable, or is that just your personality?
I don't know.
Is that just who she is? I mean, I noticed when you came out and you got a big applause, so I was like, maybe she's just really adorable. That's just who she is. I was just asking because, like, I feel like we often default to that, like, ingenue kind of, like,
Right.
you know, I'm so cute, you know, and, like, and that might be who you are, like, just coming out in you, or it might be just like a default choice that we choose for sopranos. So if you're choosing it, fine. But if you're not choosing it, it's just coming out because that's, like, the default thing, then I would make another more specific choice. Even if it's, like, scared or excited or, you know, like, just don't default to, like, soubrette is always my thing,
Okay.
you know? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because we're doing these parts of people from a long time ago. They don't always make sense with who we are today. And I think there's a way to bridge that gap by not just kind of, like, going into opera mode. Of,
Right.
like, this is how, you know, Renata Scotto did it. She looked adorable.
Right.
You know, like who are you as this person, and then bringing that into the character.
Okay.
So, but it was definitely better when you sort of gave that specificity the second time. So where can we keep going? I want to hear the little fast part again. I want to have that motivated by something.
Okay. Maybe from there. From Pardonnet.
Oh, sure. Pardonnez, sure. Yeah.
Pardonnez à mon bavardage, j'en suis à mon premier voyage. Les cloches s'éloignaient à peine que j'admirais de tous mes yeux. Les hameaux, les grands pas, la plaine. Les voyageurs, je me suis vu. Mon cousin, excusez-moi, c'est mon premier voyage. J'ai regardé filles curieuses, les arbres frissonnant au vent. Et j'oubliais toute joyeuse.
Okay, it's back to being like a little bit in the general kind of like, I'm sweet, Manon. Like I want to see more about like what you're saying to this person, what you're telling them, what you're trying, like what are you trying to communicate? What is the essence of what you're trying to say? Is it that you're sweet and cute? Is it that you're innocent, or is it something else? Is it like, I am so excited to be here, this is so cool? Something needs to be more visceral,
Okay.
so that it's not just,
Right.
it's like, I mean, it's hard, that's how it's written. It's written like, but I really feel like there's more there, and I feel like you have more there.
Yeah.
So let's see that come out. I don't know where to go from. Oh, 2 minutes, okay. Woo! In 2 minutes. I have an idea. I'm sorry. Act like you're very angry in this part right now. Just try it. Just like sing this all as if Manon is like super mad. Okay, try it.
Les cloches s'éloignaient à peine que j'admirais de tous mes yeux. Les hameaux, les grands bois, la plaine. Les voyageurs, je me suis vu. Oh, mon cousin, excusez-moi, c'est mon premier voyage.
I mean, there's something to that, like doing the opposite emotion. Like it, I think it's just we default sometimes to like the opera like feeling. Like what is that feeling in the opera singer is supposed to be having right now? And obviously you're not going to do her angry, but like somehow it brings something else out. It's hard to get it out sometimes when the music is telling you something and you like want to. But like that, to me, that was much more interesting. You're not gonna do it that way. But if you just try those different sort of like play around with those different emotions until you find one that feels like more specific to the right thing, but out of your default kind of like soubrette thing.
Right.
I think that is a nice thing for you. I think we should just hear that really fun high coloratura part one more time. So it's great. Because we only have a minute left, so.
L'instant d'après, je le confesse, je riais. Je riais, mais sans avoir pourquoi.
All right, I would experiment when you practice this with like all like spectrum of emotions.
Okay.
Like try it like she's upset, try it like she's joyful, try it like she's angry. Just try different things and then infuse all of those notes with something, some meaning that means something to you.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Okay.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, my name is Zuleyma Oropeza, and I will be singing Lágrimas, mías from El Anillo de Hierro by Pedro Miguel Marqués.
piece. You have a wonderful voice, like a very exciting, like, you know, full voice. I love it. And also very sensitive at playing. I just wanted to say thank you. It's, I want to just compliment you on there was a lot of specificity in that. Like that is the kind of piece that could be kind of one feeling, and I could tell that you had thought about different ways of conveying sad. And so I think that is really like a good example of what I would be looking for in that specificity. So good job.
Thank you.
And I can tell that you know what you're saying, and that it meant something to you. And so I thought it was really powerful. What do you? So did you pick this, or was it assigned to you?
I actually did pick it.
You picked it, and what made you pick it?
I had like a personal attachment to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have a personal like experience with it or something, or you just knew about it, or you don't have to tell me. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it was like a personal experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like, what is it that you want? What do you want to convey? Like, what is the feeling that you want to convey besides just sad?
I think conflict, like a lot of internal conflict.
Yeah, I like that. And I got that. I think you could go further with it.
Okay.
Because I could tell that there was more than just one thing, but I wasn't exactly sure what those things were. Like, so I think you could actually go quite a bit further. I could tell you have the capacity to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you could go even deeper into the different directions of the way the piece is going. Like, is there joy somewhere in there? Is there like a moment, a remembrance of joy? Is there like anger? You know, like I feel like that's all in you, and like I already could tell that you were pulling it out, but I think it can go quite a bit further.
Okay.
I don't have a lot to say. I feel like this is a pretty solid piece for you, and like, you know, I feel like it's in really good shape. So I don't want to come up here and be like, and this and this and this. I mean, when something is kind of cooked, it's good. But I would say the only thing is like I feel like there's actually quite a bit more emotional depth and range that you have to bring. Okay. And so I would just play with that a little bit.
Okay.
Want to try it again, and maybe I can stop you here and there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then I'll give you 2 measures, I think.
Okay.
I want to just compliment even the intros and the interludes. You were like in it, and that's really like that's really hard to do.
Thank you.
And I could tell that you thought about it. So good on you. One thing I would say is we don't get very many high notes in this, and they are not how you expect them to come. They don't come at the end of phrases. It feels to me like some kind of a wail. Like when it comes out like that, I think you could have more, it could be more passionate the way that it's written, because it's like suddenly this high A. Like I feel like it wants to feel more like a wail. And then in contrast to that, I think you can find some moments where there's more quiet and tenderness, so that it's not all one volume, so that you find some of those extremes. Yeah. And then make sure you stay on the voice when you get to that softer spot, because sometimes you're kind of a little bit under when you're getting off the voice. So don't let those emotions kind of pull you out of that. Okay. You want to start it over and maybe try starting it a little bit softer or a different sort of thing, and then when you get to the high note, like a wail. Like it's a cry of some kind. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's try from the beginning again and try some different dynamics. The music obviously comes first. So what do you think is happening there? Why is that?
I think this is where the actual conflict starts to happen, because I feel like in this first half, I want to stay in a relationship that I can't be in, and then now it's the shift of like, but I have to leave because I want to do what's right.
Right. So this is like the inner turmoil or something, that the music is inspiring that. Okay. So I want to see that shift of sadness to something else. And the music is starting it, so it's like he's doing a great job of kind of like, giving that impetus, and then I want to see you pick that up.
Okay.
Okay. And the words to distinguish that sort of like that turmoil and that impetus, so that it's like sharper and stronger.
Okay.
It feels a little bit too soft in that point for me.
Okay.
You want to try that transition one more time? Whale. Sorry, keep going. Sorry. There's a fermata on that last A, so you don't have to get off it so quick. It feels like it wants to just have a big preparation, and like, you've got some nice, like, full high notes. I would live in those a little bit longer. Okay. Is there a reason why you were getting off it so quick?
Right now I'm at a point in my vocal development where I'm a little scared with my high notes.
What? No! Come on, this is the time. Let's do that. Let's do it again. Hold it till you break it. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Ay de mí, qué triste y desolada, no sé por qué, no sé por qué, no sé por qué,
I think it's just in the preparation. You just have to really be like ready for it, but it's gorgeous. Hold it, it sounds beautiful. Great job.
Thank you.
Sure. So I was a singer for almost 20 years. I started, right out of school, and then I performed for a long time. I transitioned into administration. I was telling Professor Hahn, partly because I saw a lot of opera companies going bankrupt and having struggles, and I'm very passionate about thinking that everybody can like opera if they're just introduced to it in the right way. And I wanted to figure out how to be a part of that part of the equation. And I also had a kid, and he was in school, and the traveling was getting very exhausting. And so all those factors led me into administration. And I will say that having been a singer for all those years, I almost wish I had the reverse opportunity. In the one hand, it's very good that I was a singer because I understand singers. I think I'm a nice general director because I get singers. But it's very eye-opening to discover what it's like to run an opera company when you have just been a part of one, as a singer. And so I wish I had, been a part of an opera company to see what that was. So I guess what I would communicate to you is whether you want to be a singer or an administrator or whatever you want to do, having the opportunity to sort of work in an opera company or see how it works is very helpful to you as a performer, because then you understand more about like the world around you when you're working at a company, and like why things are happening like they are, and why you're being asked to go to this donor dinner and or sing at this fundraiser. It makes more sense. In terms of careers, I think in this world of like music and art, whatever you end up doing that is fulfilling to you, that's what you should do. And so, there's a lot of avenues that you could go into, that are not necessarily singing at the Met. I never sang at the Met. I'm okay with it. It's like that's not the only direction that there is to go. There's a lot of different ways. And arts administration is a really interesting one that still requires creativity. If you're working in fundraising, for example, or marketing, you're storytelling. You're telling people like why they should like and care about opera. Obviously, in artistic administration, you're doing planning and figuring out what operas are going to happen. So it does require a lot of creativity and intelligence and some of the same things it requires to be a singer or a performer. Budgeting, you're going to have to figure out how to budget for your own self when you're out in the world and like are a freelance artist. And same thing, figuring out how to budget for an opera company. It's all very like, it makes sense. I guess the big thing is like whatever, it is a difficult field to have a career in, as we all know. Any of the arts are. And so any avenue that you take and that you feel good about is going to be worthwhile and you should be proud of. And if you're interested in arts administration, it's a very viable way to contribute to the arts sector, and have a more stable life, I guess, than traveling all over the world. So I think it's been really interesting for me to see how it works. It's a big challenge. The arts it's very hard to make enough money to make opera go. That's the thing that is important to communicate as a singer and to know. 80% of your salary that you get paid, or whatever you get paid, comes from fundraising, and only 20% comes from ticket sales. That's the ratio that we're at right now in opera across the sector. So, it requires a lot of skill to figure out how to get that 80% so that the operas can happen. And it requires people who care a lot about music and art and opera to, make people give that money. And so that's a really valid and valuable way to spend your time as an artist, is making more art.
Thank you. Obviously, these skills that you mentioned, they don't just apply to an opera organization, but any musical or any arts organization.
Yeah. Or other careers, too.
Yeah.
I find singers to be really good at a lot of things because we have to learn a lot of different things.
Sure. Do we have any questions? Yes.
So I feel like as in administration, it's probably important to have like a clear vision of why music should be performed, why certain music should be performed in certain ways. And have you ever had like a time in your
Honestly, for me, not really. I've always seen opera as this kind of like marginalized thing that so many people automatically think they don't like, that I've always felt like I want to be its cheerleader. And that's just always been, you know, as a singer, throughout my whole career, I just always saw how hard it was to get an audience for opera. And then I saw when people did come, I did a lot of contemporary opera, and I would see people coming to these shows that were very relevant to their lives and being like, oh, this is not what I thought opera was. And how they would change their minds. And so for me, I've always seen the importance of it as an art form that can really like make people feel differently. For me, I think it's like the fact that it can reach people in a different way is like imperative to human beings connecting. So like that sort of very basic thing kind of pushes me along to want to do it all the time. You know, the hard part is like in our culture, it feels so far away in so many ways. Like we were talking about some of these like, you know, 15-year-old nun characters or whatever, or like all of these, you know, women who are fainting, you know, like that's the part that's hard to connect with what we are right now. But like if you peel that away, I think that like the way that music and drama comes together and like just connects with individual people is, there's not really any replication of it. Like if you go to like a big rock concert or something, it's a different experience than if you go to an opera and like you hear a pure voice like doing the extent of what a human being can do. There's nothing else that's quite like that. So that's kind of always why I want to stick with it and make sure it sticks around. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Cyrus. Now that you've made like the transition into administration, like are you still like performing just like?
Oh, that's such a good question, actually. Like, can you do both? And like, are there? So there definitely. I feel like things have changed. Like 10, 15 years ago, there was like a big stigma. Like if you went into like administration, like you couldn't sing anymore. I think things have shifted now, and like people have started to understand that people can have a lot of different paths, and even at the same time. It kind of depends on what you go into. So I was telling Professor Hahn that in general, I stopped singing. I had been doing it for long enough, and I felt ready to do it. But last year, we were doing an opera, a Handel opera, and one of the singers got COVID on the last performance, and we were going to have to cancel the show. And so I learned the part that morning and sang it from the side because we would have had to cancel the performance. And so as a general director, I was like, financially, we cannot cancel this performance. So as a singer, I'm going to learn this part. It only worked because she happened to be a mezzo. And I remembered how hard singing was on the one hand, but I also remembered like what joy it brings. And it's always kind of bothered me that like you can have like a conductor or a director, and they'll be a general director, but you take a singer and like they can't sing anymore. Like it's always kind of been this separate thing. I'm starting to see that change. Singers are starting their own companies. Singers are becoming producers. We're finding now that, you know, people are starting to legitimize some of these smaller companies that used to kind of felt, you know, it's like somebody's vanity company or something, but now we're seeing the benefit of like smaller organizations and like what it gives to the arts sector. So I think that there's no reason that anybody has to take one path and only do that path. I always encourage singers, like, if you really have a love of singing, like let's say you have the kind of voice that's like, you're only going to sing Wagner and it's not going to mature until you're 38 or whatever, and you want to become an arts administrator and keep singing all that time until you can sing the thing that you dreamed about, I think you should do it. And I think that kind of, you know, that feeling that people, my sense is that people have started to realize that people who have multiple skills are very valuable. And the more that you can do, and the more that you can offer, and the more that you can like empathize with like what other people are doing, the better you're going to be at the thing you're doing. So I think you can find your path, and even if it's not the path anyone else has taken. Like for me, there aren't that many singers who had singing careers for a certain period of time and then became general directors. Usually like they go out of college and maybe they take that path and they spend a long time doing that. So it was an unusual thing for me, and I was like, well, I'm just going to do it, you know, and it worked out, and here I am. So I think just like whatever your path is, you do it, and if you want to keep being an artist, that's only going to make you better at whatever you're doing, and you might just jump ship and decide you want to go be a professional singer again. Not going to happen for me, because I can tell you that I was very nervous singing that Handel opera. I was like, oh yes, that's why I quit. Good to know. I made the right choice. But
Can I ask a second question?
sure, yeah.
So you run an opera company. So what does that look like?
Day to day, kind of?
Yeah.
Good question. It's so many things. So my job is like overseeing and making sure everything happens, but that includes everything from, you know, I work with the artistic director to figure out what operas we're going to do. Then we got to figure out where we're going to do them and how much they're going to cost. Then we got to figure out how we're going to pay for them. So where are we going to fundraise? Where are we going to get the money from? Then we got to figure out how many tickets they're going to sell. So we have to make an estimate of how many tickets we think they're going to sell. So we have to make a whole budget. And then, so that's a big part of it, is like all the planning. And then you have a whole other part of it, which is working with your board of directors. So your board of directors is this group of philanthropists who are all volunteers and who are technically your boss. So you have to manage all of them, manage up to all of them, and kind of tell them, this is what I think we should do, while they are providing oversight to you. So it's like a very kind of complicated relationship, but somehow works. And they are also a big part of who's giving you money to be able to do the shows you want to do. So you're managing all of them, you're managing your staff, you're figuring out what the shows are, you're figuring out what they cost, figuring out how to make enough money to get them in. And then sort of the bigger strategy of like, why are we here? What are we providing to the community? Like, why do we need to make art? And who are we connecting with? And who are our partners? So all of that goes in, you know, all of that from A to Z. And then also sometimes I'm like moving my own chairs. Or like, you know, like for a small opera company, like sometimes I'm the usher because somebody didn't show up. So it's like that whole range of doing all of that stuff. But it's a lot of management and visioning and then figuring out how you're going to make it happen. Yeah. Back?
How does a young person go about, like logistically, how to acquire a job in arts administration? How do you go about learning it? Is it something that you get a degree in, or is it something that you just have to build a network from, having a career in singing, or?
It depends. I mean, there are definitely people who get degrees in, you know, who are singers and then go back and get a business degree. That's one path. I would say the more common path is to start in a lower level job and kind of work your way up and get to know everything. I hope you guys all know about the LA County Department of Cultural Affairs internships. They allow you to do a paid internship with an arts organization while you're in school. It's only for undergrads, though, so I don't know how many of you guys are undergrads and how many are grads. Most undergrads? Yeah, so I just want to make sure you all know LACDAC internship. And for example, we hire 3 interns every year, development, marketing, and production. And it used to be a summer internship, but now since the pandemic, they've moved it so that it's all year. So they work 15 hours a week, like at the offices with us, and are paid. And so if you're interested in arts administration, and you can, I would apply for that internship. It doesn't have to be with our company. All over LA, they have arts organizations hiring interns. So I think like starting by getting a job, I mean, the truth is that like there are a lot of arts organizations looking for people to work for them. And so if that's something you're interested in, starting a job as a development associate or a marketing associate, like, you know, as a trained classical musician, you'll have a real leg in, more than somebody who's coming from, you know, retail or something. And nothing wrong with retail, but I'm just saying, like, those people are very good salespeople, but I'm saying if you have this degree in music, like and you're applying for a job at an arts organization, that's going to help you. And that's a way to find out if you like it also. So I would say start by seeing if you can't get a job somewhere, even a part-time job. A lot of the smaller arts organizations hire part-time people. We have 3 part-time people right now. All 3 of them are recent CSULB grads or current CSULB students. None of them are singers, but we have hired a lot of singers. Even if you don't end up going in arts administration, it's super interesting to see how it works when you're starting out, and I think it informs what kind of artist you become. So I'm very for everybody doing those kinds of jobs and internships at the beginning of their careers to see like what it's like, and then you'll see if you love it or not.
Thank you. Tim.
What are some ways to bring this art home to people who would like never know anything about it?
That is like that's why I went into this job, was to think about that. I think, you know what's so interesting? I've always thought that contemporary opera is a really good way to do that because the stories, you know, resonate, and because people don't, you know, they equate it more to seeing a play or something that they have more understanding of. And now that's proving to be true. I don't know if you guys read that the Metropolitan Opera decided to like change all their programming and do way more contemporary operas this year. And that's like, for our company, we produce almost exclusively contemporary operas. It's mostly what we do. So we were like, yeah, duh. We knew that all along. But we just did this world premiere opera, and we had something like 70 to 80% of the ticket sales, the single tickets, were new to us, and a lot of them were new to opera. And they saw it advertised, and it was in English, and they liked the story, and so they came. So I think one way is just figuring out something that people can relate to. But I think a big problem that opera has is that, you know, people feel that it's very elitist, and they don't feel like they're comfortable going. So I think like destigmatizing, demystifying the experience is really important. Having an experience people can come as they are, and even coming to communities that don't have it. Obviously, education and being in the schools and, you know, being places where people can experience it. I think going to people is kind of a big part of what opera companies have to do, because they're not always going to come to us because they won't always feel comfortable. So all of those things, finding the right repertoire, but also, you know, finding community partners, finding people in your community that like maybe don't have a connection to opera. Our artistic director is into having crossovers with pop culture. He has all these like pop stars he wants to have write operas because he feels like those audiences will come. And there's a lot of people outside of opera who are like, ooh, opera, that sounds cool. Let me try to see what that is. And bringing those people, and then the people come, and they're like, oh, that's what opera is? That's not what I thought. You know, I love it when people come to see an opera and they're like, that's not what I thought it would be at all. I'm like, I know. So.
That's all the time we have for question and answer session, but can we thank
and please come to the operas that we do at Long Beach Opera. We have student tickets that are like $15, but we also often offer free tickets. So please come see what we do. We're right in the same town, so we would love to have you. We would love to host you. Happy to have you come to see the shows. Thank you.
Thank you.